everybody, and welcome to the Hypocritics podcast. My name is Carl, and I am here with my Hypocritics crew. We've got the lady nerd, the quirky wonder, Mandy. How are you?
I'm trucking along.
Okay. You had your hair over your face for a second, and then there was a pause before you spoke, and I was like, and she's possessed. Don't know what to do next.
I told you should have boarded up that well.
That's exactly what I thought of. That's what I think every time when I see people with hair in front of their face. The rain. She's alive.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I'm going to tell people that now. I'm from a well.
So, where are you from? Are you originally from here? I'm from a well.
A well.
From a well.
Which one?
Tell
you.
You should sound really offended when you say it, too. I think that'd be interesting. Like, I'm from a well.
Gosh.
You gotta point things out.
Jeez.
That's why you gotta tell it like it is.
Any products you want to...
Tonight, I endorse sleep.
All right.
I heavily endorse sleep. She's not even going for, like, bed, recliner, just sleep.
Just like, you know what? Just as a whole, sleep's good.
Sleep is fabulous.
I understand that.
Amen. Sorry, friends. That's all I got.
I would say we should start a sleep campaign, but Lee Terry did that like 16 years ago. And
a little political humor for you.
Local political humor, yeah. Sorry. I should stay topical, probably.
All right, so also with us, we've got the sharp tongue herself, Allison.
Good evening. I got nothing.
Okay. Are you endorsing sleep, too?
I'm okay at the moment.
Okay.
Asked me 10 minutes ago, I would have, yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Ask me again later.
Yeah, I will. We'll do a pulse check in 10 minutes.
All right, sounds good.
And also with us, we've got Caleb the same.
I'm endorsing wakefulness. How about that? Just to be contrary.
I was going to say, contrary bastard.
It's because she's from a well, isn't it?
Yep. Our slogan is, don't sleep or you'll miss it. Yeah.
Oh.
That's what it is.
Okay. All right. Well, good to know. So, we've got a pretty full docket this evening. So we're going to have to breeze through some shit. So, in our first section, in our movie section, we've got a movie that's filmed that looks like a first-person shooter. Looks like a first-person shooter video game. And it looks fantastic. I watched like a little trailer clip from it, and it's pretty BA. Did anyone see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thoughts?
I think it looks cool. It looks cool. I have questions, but other than that, yeah.
What kind of questions?
Well, in the generation that we're in, I don't know how much Call of Duty that you play, okay? But how many people are going to go and see this just because they love first-person shooters? And how likely is it that they're going to be able to keep their mouth shut in the theater? Because I see a lot of people yelling noob. They're going to try to tell the protagonist what to do. Like, oh, no, dude, you should dive, you noob.
Okay.
Noob.
Well, then, that's the vibe they should go for. If the test screenings come out like that, and like they go and all of the testers, that's how it plays out, and people are wanting to like yell at the screen and whatnot, that's how they should market it.
I think so. They
should hit that demographic hard. But anyway, the film is called Hardcore. It's I'll just read the synopsis here. Hardcore is a modern action sci-fi story about Henry, a newly resurrected cyborg who must save his wife/creator Estelle from the clutches of a psychotic tyrant with telekinetic powers, Aiken, I guess, and his army of mercenaries. Fighting alongside Henry is Jimmy, played by Charlton Copley, who is Henry's only hope to make it through the day. Hardcore takes place over the course of one day in Moscow, Russia, and it's all shot in the same style as Bad Motherfucker, which is to be released in cinemas worldwide. I've never heard of that one. So.
Did you get any of that from the trailer?
No.
Not me either. Like, isn't the trailer supposed to like...
Yeah, the trailer's supposed to like tell you what's going on. And no, it basically was just showing off the first-person shooter aspect of it.
Yeah.
So I didn't know it was a cyborg until I looked at the synopsis.
To make sure I've got this.
Yes.
Newly resurrected cyborg.
Yes.
This is a cyborg who died and came back.
Yeah, apparently.
Who's married.
Right.
A married, dead cyborg.
So what I'm thinking is that here was a man. I know where you're going with that. That just hit me. Here's a man who was married, and something bad happened to him, and he got resurrected as a cyborg. Right. But then something bad happened to him again, and he had to get re-resurrected, and now he has to save his wife.
Right.
And she was also the lead scientist who made him a cyborg to resurrect him in the first place.
RoboCop is going to sue somebody.
Yeah, I thought that's where you were going with that. So yeah, it looks interesting. I'll see it if it comes to a theater nearby us. But we're a flyover state, so people hate us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Caleb, you put this story on our docket, this next one here. Apparently, Al Pacino and Brian De Palma are collaborating again.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting to me.
It's pretty awesome.
Yep, so they've teamed up a couple of times in the past. They brought us some of the more notable gangster movies that we've had, like Carlito's Way, which I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but it's better than their other collaboration, which was Scarface. Carlito's Way, better movie than Scarface.
It is. Yeah, Scarface is loved by thugs worldwide, and I don't understand it.
Can I get an obligatory Tony Montana impression?
From me?
From you.
Oh, okay. Hang on. I got to get into character. All right, I'm going to go with the most iconic line of his. Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah.
That was a little bit more like Cockney than Tony Montana. But
so their two movies that they did previously are 10 years apart. Now they're talking that they're going to team up again in this flick called Retribution, which the story actually sounds Philadelphia. Who knew that was such a problem in Philly, right? But it's based any word on who Pacino would play, but I'm banking on Hitman probably. I can't see him playing like Thug Number 4, you know?
No.
So,
I was thinking he'd play the cop.
I don't know. He did that in Heat. And
yeah, that's true.
The problem I had with Heat is I thought that De Niro and Pacino should have swapped spots.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but yeah, I mean, I'm kind of excited for it. I mean, these guys are magic when they team up, at least for the box office, you know? There's going to be poser gangster dudes everywhere lining up to see this thing.
Oh, gross. I don't want to see it now.
Dudes with, like, off-kilter baseball caps and tank tops and tons of chains, and they hold their guns sideways for some reason, even though that's not how you shoot things.
Yeah. I don't want to see this movie now. So, moving on into more exciting news for the populace. Toy Story 4 is apparently happening.
Yay!
I'm excited.
Now I'm excited.
I'm sort of excited.
Why sort of excited?
Have you seen them all?
Nope. I've seen the first one.
Anybody here seen them all?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So the third one, that completed the story. That was the
That's
end of the
what I
Toy
thought.
Story. The Toy Story reached its conclusion. So they're making another one, despite the fact that the 3-film arc kind of sealed the deal, you know. But Bob Iger, who's the Disney CEO, he made the announcement on Thursday during an earnings meeting, and the plans to have the film in theaters in June of 2017. John Lasseter, who did the first two movies, writing and directing, is coming back to do the fourth one. He didn't do the third one. He hasn't directed a film since 2011, and that film was Cars 2, which explains why he hasn't directed a film since 2011.
Right.
And
so, what do you think the possibility of them picking up Toy Story 4 with a whole new set of toys?
I think there's going to be some crossover.
Yeah.
That's what I think. They'll have some Marvel superhero toys, probably. Or some Star Wars toys.
Very well could.
I think they probably would.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Agree.
I hadn't thought of that.
Instead of just like classic,
Could you imagine?
Barbie.
Could you imagine if they got an Iron Man figure in there with Robert Downey Jr.'s voice?
You could get an Iron Man figure in there, and he's like duking it out with Buzz Lightyear. Can you see that shit? Both of them just using fake lasers at each other, and they're both talking about how they can fly and shit.
Yep, I'm seeing that movie.
Yep, I would see that movie just for that scene.
I'd say
That'd be awesome.
I would eat that shit up.
Yeah. I didn't know where you were going with that.
Wow.
So I was like, okay.
I would eat Iron Man. Like we.
It's late. Okay, so yeah, I do hope that there's crossover in that, because that would be fucking outstanding.
Well, I mean, and the Star Wars toys are iconic.
Yes.
I mean, the toys made the franchise the first time around.
Okay. Okay.
They really that's what made George Lucas an enterprise unto himself.
Yeah, as I think back on it, that's true.
Well, that's how they said they're introducing it to kids now. Like, kids know the Star Wars lore and all that stuff because of the toys and all the Lego Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, yeah. Yeah, toys in Star Wars do kind of make sense. So
I think it'd be funny for them to have a really small Hulk action figure.
you think so?
Like how funny would that be? He's like the smallest one.
I think it'd be really funny for them to have like a Darth Vader bobblehead.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They could always have Vader head, like the Mr. Potato Head Vader.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Does that exist?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh,
Christmas present.
God bless Steve had one.
Yeah, he did. He did have one. All right, so
funny.
we'll move on from there. And speaking of Star Wars, we got an update on Episode 7. So I haven't really looked into this article that you posted.
Mm-hmm.
I learned the name of it, the new tagline of Episode 7.
Come up with something really epic here. Like, I learned it because I saw this old gypsy woman, and she predicted.
That wasn't actually how. It was skywriting.
Skywriting. It's my alphabet soup told me.
I heard about it on the radio.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I was driving to work. I think the title's lame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens.
Yep.
It's interesting. Very interesting.
So let's do the rundown real fast. We've had A New Hope,
Yep.
right? Empire.
So wait, we're going in chronological and not in, like, the story?
Technically, can you call it chronological? Because, I mean, chronologically, you'd have to go back to Episode 1.
Exactly.
I'm
That's
going
what
with Episode 3 first. So,
Episode 40.
yeah, that's the one. So, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and now The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
Easily the second lamest thing on that list.
Second lamest?
Yeah, Attack of the Clones is pretty bad. That sounds like a 1950s drive-in horror flick.
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones! Like, that's just...
It fits kind of the theme, though. Because, like, The Phantom Menace was the odd man out for starting the trilogy. But then with A New Hope and then The Force Awakens, it's a kind of an uplifting start of the series. So I can see why they'd go with something like that.
The next one's going to be The Force Dozes Off Again. Because
what would
it
the
promotes
last one be?
sleep.
What would the last one be then?
Force is startled awake for another time.
Thanks, that's what I needed. All right, so was there anything else to go along with that one? I skipped everything because I'm trying not to have anything spoiled for me. So is there anything that's important but not so important?
Just the stuff that they've touched on. The fact that they confirmed the timeline is 30 years after the battle on Endor. In order to keep up with the actors' ages and all that jazz. And they've also confirmed that a good chunk of the plot is actually going to revolve around Luke, Leia, and Han, which is pretty interesting.
Which is fine, I guess.
Yeah, for the first film in this quadrilogy. Because we're going to have The Force Awakens Part 2. And then we're going to have episode... It's how it's going to happen.
Episode 9 and 10. The Force is starting
Episode
awake,
9,
Part 1.
Part 3. My God.
That's
Pretty soon they're not even going to have to think on subtitles. It's just going to be like, give me your money! That's all it's going to
be. I can't wait for that. All right, so moving into TV. So apparently the Sopranos prequel is happening?
No. It's not happening. It may happen.
May happen, okay.
Yep, it may happen.
All right, give us a rundown.
All right, so with the release of the entire series of The Sopranos on Blu-ray, which happened this week, the Associated Press decided to catch up with the series creator David Chase and talk with him about the potential for an idea that he's mentioned before, which is a prequel to The Sopranos. So ever since airing the controversial final episode of The Sopranos back in 2007, Chase has batted around the idea of a sequel to the series or a prequel to the series. Kind of opted against the sequel, given that James Gandolfini is not around anymore. Right. And it really kind of puts a tragic spin on that final episode ending. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
I'm not. I haven't seen The Sopranos.
Just watch it and see how poignant it is now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can spoil it. I don't care about spoilers for most things.
After all those years of watching The Sopranos, a guy who's meant to kill Tony Soprano walks into a diner where him and his family are eating. The screen just cuts to black. That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to be this guy who's like, well, there's a point you can capitalize on here, but I don't think a sequel's out of the question, really, if that's what they want to do, marketing-wise. You know, if I was a heartless CEO, that's a direction I might root for.
That was really redundant.
As it stands. That's heartless and CEO.
Yeah.
So, as it stands, what Chase ended up saying in his interview with the Associated Press when they were talking to him was that even if I did a prequel, it wouldn't be The Sopranos that was on the air. Obviously, at least one person is gone that we would need. There are a couple of errors that would be interesting for me to talk about Newark, New Jersey. One would be the late 60s and early 70s, about all of the racial animosity, or the really true beginning of the flood of drugs. So both of those are potentially viable angles for a prequel to the show.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Obviously, like right now, that's all we got. It's just the conjecture from the series creator. There are no wheels spinning on the project, just his desire to get it done.
Okay.
But yeah, I figured it was probably notable given the release of the entire series on Blu-ray for the first time. Yeah. So, I mean, do you think they should go with a prequel or be like, forget about it? What do you think?
Nicely done. I don't know. I don't have a horse in that race, so if they did, it'd be all right. Man. If not, it'd be all right.
You should watch The Sopranos.
Yeah, if I did, I'd probably be hooked.
You really would.
Given how much I like the mafia and that type of story, it would hook me.
I watched it for a short time. I mean, I think I only saw maybe season 1, but it was good.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Damn it. All right.
Next on the list.
Yeah, pretty much. So, next up, Caleb, you put this on the list.
Oh, I'm so excited.
All right.
Because I'm the biggest fucking geek that ever lived, I guess. All right. How many of you guys are familiar with Mystery Science Theater 3000?
I know what it is, but I've never watched any.
I've heard of it, but
I think, wasn't it on like late at night?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I like
it started on public access, actually. It's how the show started. So, for those of you who aren't aware, okay, MST3K was a show about a mechanic who got shot into space on a rocket that he was sent to repair by an evil scientist who forced him to review really, really bad movies. That was the whole premise for the show. There were little robot characters that were puppets, kind of, that helped him review these shows, but the reviews were amazing. They would talk during the movies. They would supply dialogue to the movies that were really sarcastic and funny. They would make fun of the film the entire time the film was playing, basically. And, I mean, they would be movies out of the public domain. So it would be things like Time of the Apes, Robot Holocaust, The Legend of the Dinosaurs, things like that nobody ever saw the first time around. They were usually black and white and terrible films. Well, so, I mean, the hook about it is that they're not quiet when they watch the movies. They add a spark of humor to it and make it really, really funny. And the show has a cult following, and as a result, there was a tradition up until the show ended up getting canceled of the show running marathons on its network. Whatever network it was on, there would be an MST3K marathon on Thanksgiving. So, on Thanksgiving, from the time you woke up to the time you went to sleep, you could be watching Mystery Science Theater 3000 all day long. And in homage to that, the distribution company Shout Factory they're the ones who are distributing the DVDs now. Mm-hmm. They're presenting a marathon via the series' official YouTube page, which you can find linked in the article. Yep. So you'll be able to find that on our site, so that fans can still have a full day's worth of really shitty films and sarcasm. The marathon's having brand new intros and bumpers filmed for the marathon. So the original, I guess you can only say cast member. Yeah. The original cast member is coming back to film, the new intros. He was also the series creator. And so there's going to be a mix of old content and new content, which is actually really, really exciting for people who really like the show, like me.
That's pretty cool. I never got into watching the marathons. Like, after it was already canceled, basically, I got into it as an adult and was like, oh, this is really cool. I wonder why I never watched this as a kid. But never got a chance to partake in the marathons. So, this would be kind of nifty.
I just remember the first episode I ever saw. I was like, what the hell am I watching? Right? And it was some Hercules movie. And it showed all of these slaves. They were like Hebrew slaves, and they're all rowing this giant boat. And the first thing that anybody says is, white men can't row. And I laughed my ass off. I was hooked from that moment forward. I was like 9 years old, and I was like, that is funny.
Nice. All right, well, next up, a Lemony Snicket series is coming to Netflix.
He was in Omaha last month.
Why?
He was at my son's elementary school signing autographs and talking about his books.
Oh, cool.
Was he punished or something? Why was he coming to Omaha?
Because we're the only ones who still like him.
Oh. Because he wanted... He's an intriguing author in that... do you know what he looks like? Yeah, nobody knows what he looks like unless you went to see him talk somewhere. His picture is not published.
Huh.
Anything.
Well, now I'm going to have to...
I would tell you what he looks like, but I feel like that would be kind of cheating, so I'm not going to. But he's a really funny guy.
I didn't read the books. I think that, they came out right... I just missed that generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much.
I saw the movie. Well, it was okay.
Yeah.
But I really like Jim Carrey, so...
I think I read one of the books, and it wasn't bad. I mean... I don't think it would really interest me now.
Yeah. It would be they're children's books,
Exactly.
They are. My kids love the shit out of his books, and I have a serious appreciation for children's authors because I try to write, and I don't have the patience to write for kids. I couldn't do it because I think the formula to writing for kids is stating something and then stating it more obviously and then moving on a little bit and then stating something and stating it a little more obviously and then moving on a bit. I can't do that.
So what you're saying is that you have to really tell them what's going on, but then tell them what's going on more?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can move on to...
How would you write kids' mystery books then?
I don't know.
I know, that's why I'm like,
we should all read
by writing a normal...
and find out.
it's by writing a normal book, but missing that second step of explaining what's going on more. Then it's a mystery.
Oh, that's how Encyclopedia Brown got me so much.
Dude, don't even get me started. Encyclopedia Brown is still one of my heroes. It's like, how'd you solve that shit just because that balloon didn't have helium in it? You're a genius! Donald J. Sobel, everybody. Greatest writer ever.
Is that who wrote Encyclopedia Brown? I never paid attention.
Yeah.
Okay, I just thought it was Encyclopedia Brown.
I did too.
Some of the most iconic characters ever came from Encyclopedia Brown, like Bugs Meany.
Oh, I haven't heard that name.
Yeah, and Sally. You remember Sally, his sidekick Sally?
Yes, I do remember
Sally.
Sally.
Who's really, really violent. She was a really violent chick. She's just going around punching people and shit.
And she was, actually.
All the time.
She was kicking ass and taking names.
She's like, well, we were able to determine through Encyclopedia's clever observation of this pencil that kid's lying. Punch. Like, that's how it went every time, even if it didn't have anything to do with her. She's like, well, it's a punch for you, and a punch for you, and a punch for you. You know?
I'm going to have to get those books again. So, we haven't given, any rundown.
No, not at all. Let's cover the story.
So, all right. So, the Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events basically chronicles the disastrous lives of the Baudelaire orphans.
So it's not just a clever title?
It's not, unfortunately. The orphans are Violet, Klaus, and Sonny, and their parents were killed in a mysterious fire, and they were forced to live with their Count Olaf, their uncle? Cousin uncle?
I think it's uncle.
About Arkansas?
Kunkel?
Kunkel? I'm pretty sure that's a cuss word.
You might be right. And he just wants to steal their inheritance. So Netflix has picked that up to adapt all of the 13 novels into a live-action show in partnership with Paramount Television. Yes, Caleb?
Why didn't he just kill him?
Because they would have to have died through natural means rather than unnatural means in order for him to be next in line to receive their inheritance. I don't know. I didn't
Who gets it if they're murdered then? What happens then? Well, it's a part of the state now. Somebody fucking butchered them. Yeah?
Sure.
Just saying, if I was after some kid's inheritance, I mean, first I would ask really nicely. And if that didn't work, then baby armor.
No. Bringing that back. So yeah, there's no information on when we'll be able to see that, when it'll be coming to Netflix, but those are the plans. So we'll see what happens with that. So we can now move into our Dude Seriously section, and I have a subsection in the Dude Seriously section this week that we'll get to as well.
Sub-question.
Right.
Is it better to burn out or fade away?
So, first story. This is, again, Chronicles of Nightmare Fuel. There was basically kind of like a warehouse, I believe it was, a water treatment plant, where they found, where was this water treatment plant?
Yeah, it sounds like they were doing their job.
What the heck?
I can't even find where it was. I don't think they're...
Probably Australia.
Oh, it was in Baltimore.
Australia. Oh, too close.
The Baltimore, yeah. Baltimore.
Oh, it's on our continent.
Yeah.
Fuck that. So we're moving.
The Baltimore wastewater treatment plant, where they found 107 million spiders, approximately. If you look at
who counted
How do you
those?
say how the hell?
Why do you call it wastewater?
1, 2.
I'll tell you why in a minute, because I read, I was like, how did this happen? And I found out how. So, yeah, basically, there's like, in a 3x3, like in a cubed yard, 3x3 feet of space, 35,000 spiders in it. If you look at the pictures, there's a
Brought in professional spider counters.
Right. There's a photo that shows like the rafters up above, and it's just blankets of spider webs and spiders inside of them. It's the worst. This happened because, that's gross. Because it's a treatment plant that basically treats wastewater, sewer water. So it's separating out human biological waste from the water, that sort of thing. And where there's poop, there's flies. And where there's flies, there's things that eat flies.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
Exactly. So, inside that water treatment plant, there is a population of spiders that rivals the human populations of the Philippines and is 3 times the human population of Canada.
If I was the Philippines, I would really resent. Why did they have to pull that out?
I was just thinking.
It's like, you know how many? There are so many spiders here. It's like the Philippines if the spiders were Filipino. Like,
it's like, who makes that relation?
Exactly. Like, where did you pull that from?
Well, I pulled it from the article. I don't know where they pulled it from. Go ahead, Allison. Okay, you were about to say something.
No.
Okay. Well, just in case you were, you thought that Baltimore was too close, they found one like this in Texas in 2007 as well.
But it was bigger because everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah.
No. Don't people actually work at these things?
Right?
Yeah, they said
they used to, but now they're hanging from the ceiling in a human cocoon.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm sorry, but I'd be quitting my job as soon as I walked in and saw that. Like, no, thank you.
Like, we need to talk to the foreman, and it's just a giant spider in a coat, and he's like, what can I do for you? That's my foreman impression. I'm a foreman. How can I help you?
So, yeah, they, according to reports of the building, in places where the treatment plant workers had to remove webbing to access machinery, it laid as thick as fire hose on the ground in some places. Elsewhere, it just hung from the ceilings like bed sheets.
Gross.
The webs were so thick in places, they had yanked 8-foot-long fluorescent light fixtures out of place. A web strong enough to do that could literally capture a human who had tumbled into it alone and unprepared.
That's disgusting.
You missed my favorite quote of the whole article, where the guy says, "Ew, gross, they're in my hair, they're in my hair." No, that's not actually in the article anywhere.
I was like, I didn't see that anywhere. So yeah, that's the worst of the worst. So yeah, we can move on from there.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. All right, Caleb, you put this one on our docket. I'd heard this story before, but I'll let you take this one.
All right, so I'm pretty outraged, actually.
You should.
Generally, my outrage is just for amusement purposes, but this is fucked up. Mm-hmm. Like, this is just seriously fucked up. So, on Tuesday, the 4th, a 90-year-old dude named Arnold Abbott and 2 pastors were arrested in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, because they were feeding the homeless in public. The police charged them with violating a recent ordinance that took effect October 21st of this year that had been voted into practice by a factor of 4-1 by Fort Lauderdale City Commissioners, approving new restrictions on feeding the homeless in public. Because with all the problems, the people face, that people should be making votes on and whatnot, feeding the homeless is really up there with things like more police, a better fire department, better textbooks in our schools, etc.
And the thing is, he wasn't there alone. He was there it was Arnold Abbott and 2 pastors. And personally, I blame the police officer for this. Because, and hear me out, it's because he could have come at them like, hey, I realize you guys probably don't know this, the law changed on this, and so, I had to give you a ticket for it, but go ahead, finish doing what you're doing. You're doing a good thing, but next time, this is how you go about it. These are the proper permits and blah, blah, blah that you need. He didn't have to take them to jail.
The police were waiting for them to set up shop and serve.
So, thing ever.
According to MRCTV.com, Abbott now potentially faces jail time and has been fined. Abbott told police that he was aware of the new ordinance, but refused to stop doing the work he's been doing for 18 years because he's a badass and he's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty BA, actually.
So, as city commissioners promised, the 90-year-old founder of the Love Thy Neighbor program was taken into custody. And when he was first confronted by police, Abbott says he was told by an officer to drop the plate right now, as though it were some sort of weapon. The public organized to speak out against the ordinance, but their allotted time to speak with the public commenters was scheduled for 1 a.m.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Likely in an attempt to reduce the number of citizens from being able to say their piece about it.
And see, this is where, oh shit, alright, let me get a little bit political. This is where civil disobedience is very important. Because the system puts into place oh, this is the rule that you have to go through in order to make yourself heard. But then they put these little rules at 1 a.m. and make it harder for you to adhere to the rules. That's why civil disobedience is important, to show that shit doesn't fly.
So
yeah.
The official stance of the city of Fort Lauderdale officials is that their efforts are not to punish the homeless, but to help them from being homeless. I don't get that. Explain that. Someone? Did I read it wrong?
Nope.
I didn't read it wrong. It's right in the article.
So refusing food
is gonna
to them is going to
give
help
them
find a house.
Because they're relying on other people feeding them. See, no.
Sometimes you just have to kneel in order to stand up.
Dig this shit. Okay, if your outrage can get any more potent, please allow me to help you get there. Okay, one of the city's new budget items: $25,000 for one-way tickets for the homeless who want to leave the city to reunite with family in other parts of the country. Basically, no, you can't feed the homeless in public, but we're going to spend taxpayer money to ship them out of here because we don't like looking at them.
That's so idiotic.
That's corrupt and horrible. It demeans the integrity of human beings. I mean, where's the fucking compassion? These people are supposed to be leaders.
You said compassion. Like in relation to humans. Yeah. I don't think they have that anymore.
Are you sure? Because Arnold Abbott just got arrested because he knew that he was going to get arrested and did it anyway.
No,
so
fair.
There's compassion.
Okay.
Faith in humanity restored.
Yeah. Okay, let me rephrase. You said compassion in relation to politicians.
Commissioners, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, the whole thing just makes me feel ill.
Yeah. Oh, you want to feel more ill? You want to move on to our next
Why
story?
would I want to feel more
I have a comment.
ill?
Just wait. I think our solution is just to get rid of Florida.
Yeah, saw
They
it
just need to go.
Just fucking saw it
I don't disagree with you at all.
We are done with that state.
Florida.
And then the commissioners are going to come. They're like, "We need aid. We need help." And we're like, "Well, we would help you, but you're in public.
Go hide behind it.
Quick! Find that lady in California. We can throw a homeless stew benefit for Florida."
But what we will do is take our taxpayer dollars to give you one-way tickets to Cuba.
Right.
I was like, let's get rid of Florida. Let's bring Cuba back.
Puerto Rico. We already own Puerto Rico. Like they're a territory of the United States. They can.
Yeah, we could just slot them in, can't we?
My God.
We need to do something because Florida's outrageous right now. So, any thoughts on that, Mandy? You look.
What state was it that one governor or mayor? And she threw that banquet, and she said dressed as hobos. Was that Florida?
That
too?
was California.
That was
Okay.
California. Mother Nature's going to make them fall off one day. So that's in the cards.
What, California, Texas, and Florida.
Adios. Cool.
Indeed. All right. So this is the story that broke me. So. There was, and this was reported via the Indian Express.
You got this story by train?
Yep. Took a long time to get here.
It's because they had to go through Florida and people were eating.
Damn it.
That was good. So yeah, there was apparently a 14-year-old girl who was allegedly raped by a 45-year-old medical supplier, and in retaliation to this, the 14-year-old girl's father plotted and planned and invited the man over for dinner. After dinner, subdued him, tied him up, burned his genitals with heated tongs, and then strangled him to death. And then he went and turned himself into the police. This man's my hero.
Yeah.
Because that's something I would do. That's something I would do minus the turning myself into the police part.
I'm just trying to find the right words.
Okay, if
he deserved every bit of that. That man deserved every bit of it if he was legit the rapist.
That, yes.
Yeah, see...
Yeah.
I'm thinking that dude's got to be a freaking idiot. You rape somebody's daughter. He invites you over to dinner and you go?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, that's why I'm like...
But see, I'm thinking that there was a prior... because, okay, there's more to it than that. I'm thinking
I wonder if there was, like... That's so... Yeah.
Between the alleged rapist and the girl's father. Because it says that he had come to... the medical supplier had come to the man's house looking for him. And when he wasn't there, that's when the alleged rape went down with the 14-year-old girl because she was home. So I'm thinking that there was a prior relationship there, and the man told the girl not to tell anyone. So I'm imagining he thinks that he's in the clear. She's not saying anything. She told her father that day. So he'd been planning for 2 months on how to get back at this guy.
Which... Go girl for really not listening to him and really telling the dad the day it happened.
I agree with that absolutely 100%. I do have a very unpopular opinion about this. In that I think the man should have stood trial.
You think so?
Yep.
That's a good point. If he goes to jail.
That's true.
That's not even it. It's just... Given that it's a 14-year-old girl, okay, and I'm not discounting anybody's story here, okay?
Right.
But given that it's a 14-year-old girl, and that it's a matter of she told her dad, and that's what the dad went off of, there's a lot of room for misinterpretation, miscommunication, lots of things could have went wrong, and this man could have been tortured and killed without things having played out exactly as... it was said. We're going off of the word of a 14-year-old girl. Now, I'm not saying that you should discount the word of a 14-year-old girl. She comes to you and says something like that. That's a reason, definitely, to investigate.
Oh, yes.
But that investigation didn't take place. The dad didn't do anything about it except for torture and murder that man. He didn't call anyone in that could confirm what had happened. He didn't... In my opinion, he didn't take the appropriate steps. Now, I definitely think that torturing and killing rapists that are convicted of rape is a great idea, and that should probably be something that's, an option as far as the death penalty goes. Okay? That should be a type of death penalty reserved for rapists and pedophiles, and especially pedophile rapists.
Yep.
But the man should have stood trial.
I agree with you in theory. But in practice, I don't think I can agree.
In practice, they would have put him in jail. He would have been out in, 9 months or something like that.
Not even that. Like, think about where this took place.
But then you can kill him.
True. But think about like where this took place, and think about the time we live in and all of that. Like, in America, in a first world country, arguably the most powerful country in the nation, in the world. Edit that out. Anyway... We have people go through, like, rape investigations and whatnot, and the girl can have given very vivid details about the rape, and the guy will get off. There won't be any... Okay, stop. There won't be any, like, repercussions, really, for him. A fine, or, 3 months public service.
I don't even think...
But then...
I think it's like 20... Not even 20% that rapists actually get...
Right, and there are a great number
guilty.
of them. There are a great number of them that aren't even investigated.
I completely agree with you.
And so, if that's the case in this country, and this takes place in India, where their entire culture does not value, or places negative value on the words of women in a lot of cases, and on the words of, like, sex offenders and shit like that, or people who have been sexually assaulted, like we do.
I'd have to look into that. I don't know what sort of value I haven't done any sort of study about gender equality in India.
I haven't delved very deep into it, but I've heard a lot of stories about how women over there will get raped and then say something, and then they're the ones being ridiculed and all of that.
You want to hear my counter argument?
Uh-huh. Okay.
All right. So he gets found guilty, but nothing really happens. Kill him then.
But what if he's not found guilty is what I'm saying. Well, I'm saying, what if she goes to her dad? Her dad tells the police. The police don't do anything. Mm-hmm. Then what? then kill him?
That's not what happened here.
That's not what happened, but that may have been the case in several other cases. We don't know
if
because
the police,
they're not investigating.
If the police do nothing, then if there's not something in place where you can take, something like this to the law, and the law does something, then it's your job to enforce what's right. Okay, definitely. I believe that. But that didn't happen.
And it didn't happen because of, he says that he didn't want to make a bad name for his daughter. And like I said, when women come out, even here in the United States, when women come out and say that they've been raped, all of a sudden they're a slut. They're deemed like, oh, you shouldn't have worn that. You shouldn't have done this, blah, 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 blah. The onus is put on them instantly. And so if we're talking about a situation where he goes to the police and then all of a sudden the entire neighborhood knows that she's been raped and is treating her in a negative way, I don't see any bad part of him going out of his way to do that.
This could be a really long conversation.
I think it could be.
But I do have something to say, regardless of the fact that it could be a long conversation. Okay? Do you feel that way about women when they say that they're raped?
How do you mean?
Do you think, oh man, they're a slut? No. Do you, Mandy?
No way.
How about you? Mm-mm. Yeah, me neither. So where are we getting that?
What do you mean, where are we getting that?
Like, does that happen everywhere?
That
because I don't.
It's on the media a lot.
Yeah.
Sure, but that's the media. I don't think the general consensus of the people at large is that person got raped. Obviously, they were asking for it.
All right.
I think that's
we'll bring that back up.
I think that's whoever does the crime. Like, I think that's a lot. That's a lot what they say. Like, if it's a college guy and he rapes a girl, that's what he's going to say.
Sure.
Oh, she was asking for it. She was drunk. So, da-da-da-da. I think that's a lot of what they say.
But
and then that's how they use that in court.
It's how they use it. Well, and then there's also, like, say there's a girl that gets raped on a college campus, right? Or she goes to a party and comes back and starts saying that she was raped. Then all of a sudden, like, school counselors and things like that are going to double down on, oh, you shouldn't have been wearing this, you shouldn't have been wearing that. There'll be seminars and they'll have whole assemblies in high schools where they're telling girls, don't wear this and that, don't be drunk at this, hour of night because then you'll get raped. And it shouldn't be on...
if that's the case, it definitely shouldn't be on a woman to make sure she doesn't provoke rape.
Exactly.
Definitely not.
Exactly. And so it's not just the overt, oh, you were a slut because it's the...
But how on one hand...
shit.
How on one hand can we say, hey, good for you for saying something about how you got raped, and then on the other hand say, well, if she would have said something about getting raped, it wouldn't have done her any good. We can't say both of those things. Okay, so she told her dad that she got raped. Okay, it's good that she explained that she got raped and that happened. Her dad took an extreme measure. That's why it's newsworthy the way that it is. Okay. Not everyone's dad, boyfriend, mother, they're not all going to take that extreme measure. People need to be very vocal about it if they're going to get raped. So we can't say, on the one hand, hey, good for you for letting people know that this happened, and then on the other hand say, well, if she would have let people know this happened, nothing was going to be done. It's a
I don't see why they can't. I don't see why those two, they're not mutually exclusive.
I think they kind of are. They're almost the opposite. But again, we're soaking up a ton of time, but I would love to continue this conversation later.
I think we should.
I think so.
All right, so we can move on from there into the subsection that I'm calling Science Say What?
Is the accent needed when you say it?
100% necessary, actually.
Science Say Beyonce.
Oh, Jesus. So, okay, Caleb, this first story you put on our docket, I think I'd heard this a couple days ago, but I'll let you take it.
All right, so researchers in Japan have developed a way to make mice almost completely transparent, because that's what we need. Invisible mice. That's a nightmare.
They just need to add the glow-in-the-dark aspect.
Oh.
But just the eyes. Just the eyes. So they've developed a method that almost completely removes color from the tissue, although it kills the mouse in the process. And researchers say that they can now examine individual organs or even entire bodies without having to do any cutting, and that this gives them a better picture of the problems that they're working on. Like, why'd this mouse die when I made him transparent? Yeah. So the process involves pumping a saline solution through the mouse's heart, pushing the blood out of its circulatory system, and killing the creature.
Jeez.
A reagent is then introduced, which works to divorce the heme, which is the constituent compound that gives blood its red color and is found in most tissue. I learned that on Double Jeopardy. From the hemoglobin that remains in the animal's organs. So the dead mouse is skinned, soaked in the reagent for up to 2 weeks to complete the process. A sheet of laser light, which can be set to penetrate to a specific level, builds up a complete image of the body, much like a 3D printer creates physical objects in layers. Hiroka Ueda. I think I said that right?
Yep.
We're going to run with it. If I said your name wrong, Hiroki, write me. Let me know. He led the research team, and he said in a statement that the method could be used to study how embryos develop or how cancer and the autoimmune diseases develop at a cellular level. Okay. I think the next thing they need to work on is keeping the mouse alive and not skinning it. How about that? That's just rude.
That's probably what I should do next. I'm looking at the pictures here, and these pictures are gross.
Isn't it?
I feel so bad for them.
Yeah, those poor researchers having to deal with mice like that.
No, I feel bad for the mice.
This is one of those times where science is just overreached. I feel like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. It's just like your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think that they should. That's how I feel right now about this. So yeah, any other thoughts on that? No? All right.
Nope.
We'll move to the next section, or to the next story here. Tiny robotic scallops can swim through blood and eyeball fluid to fix you up.
Okay.
Gross.
If you hadn't put "to fix you up" on there, this would have been a pandemic. This would have been a thing.
Oh, yeah.
But now they're like, oh, they're helpful. Okay. Yeah, no, we love this.
Yeah, they're helpful for now. Wait till Skynet gets a hold of
They
them.
Right.
say they're helpful.
Oh, ooh, that's even creepier, actually. So yeah, apparently the scientists from Max Planck Institute for Intelligent Systems in Germany have believe they've stumbled upon the perfect design of microscopic robots so small that they can swim through bodily fluids and repair damaged cells or deliver medicine. So basically, the micro-robo scallops move back and forth to swim through fluids.
My God, can't they come up with a better name for it? Micro-robo scallop. That just, it sounds painful.
It does. So yeah, that's how those work.
If I get dust in my eye, I'm going to throw a fit. But a micro-robo scallop that's probably going to take over my brain. Yeah, no. I don't even get a flu shot, for fuck's sake. Like, I'm not doing this.
You should get a flu shot.
No. Do you have micro-robo scallops in your brain or something?
So yeah, it says that they don't even need a whole lot of power to operate. They don't require batteries or motors or anything. Just the energy provided by an external magnetic field. So it's kind of interesting. Thoughts on that? Yes, Kay.
They're powered by an external magnetic field.
That's what that thing
My
is.
only thoughts are, how does that work?
Yeah.
Can we do that on a larger scale? With everything?
How large of a larger scale?
The world.
Okay.
What?
What are you
Pinky in the
asking?
brain.
It's very Tesla-esque. Just pull power out of the air. It would solve problems for everybody. There'd be no energy shortages. Completely renewable. If it's a magnetic field, for Christ's sake, we can generate those using electricity. But still. But yeah, that's completely off topic. I just saw a lot of potential in the idea.
I hadn't thought of that. Very interesting, sir. Yeah, this stuff is kind of cool. Any other thoughts on that? Yay, nay, maybe. Okay, no.
Did you say something? I'm sorry, I have a tiny robot in my eye.
I'm having problems like forming sentences for my brain.
It's those robo scallops.
Damn them.
Maybe it would be better if you couldn't see them at all. Let's contact Japan, see if they can get that mice technology on it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of mice, Well, the mice scientists in Japan are working on making them transparent. The mice scientists from Harvard and the University of New South Wales have used mice to discover how to reverse the aging process. To which I say, we live in the future.
Yeah, let's put all of this together real fast. Okay. We could have immortal, transparent mice that have tiny robots swimming around in their blood. Yeah, we could have an army. We could have just a vicious, terrible army of rodents.
See, I was thinking an army of microscopic invisible mice.
Microscopic invisible mice. Tiny little cheese.
That's what I was thinking. Microscopic invisible immortal mice.
Quick, somebody get me a small cat. We have a problem.
Nice. So these scientists say that they focused on mice, but the early clinical trials have also been conducted on humans, and they are hopeful. They've figured out how to switch youthful genes on and older genes off using naturally occurring protein and molecules. So one of the scientists says that he's basically been taking the enzyme or whatever it is, I can't find where it says the molecule resveratrol for a decade.
Can we call this episode Switch Your Genes Off?
Switch your genes off.
That reminds me of the episode from Impractical Jokers when he's changing his pants out by the fountain.
I forgot about that.
Why all this stuff, like with the little speck crab and the invisible mouse is really cool. Like, I just sometimes question people in science and their, I don't know. I feel like we should focus more on the human condition than trying to figure out how to make a rat invisible. If you can't train a person to grow up in society and not rape a girl, but you could make a rat invisible, something to me, that just sounds wrong. That's just wrong.
I don't disagree with that at all.
That's just some of the stuff. While it is cool, I'm like,
we could be devoting our time and attention
yeah.
elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to take a quick poll. Okay? Okay. Out of the people here, if you could reverse the aging process, would you? Yes or no?
No.
Allison?
For yourself, not for other people. For yourself.
No.
I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
I 100% would.
Yeah, I don't think I would.
Oh, wow. I'm alone on this one. Yeah, I totally would.
Well, you can't play God.
Immortal.
Say what?
You want to live forever. I do not.
Yeah.
No.
I've got too much stuff I want to learn. Too much stuff I want to do.
Which is great.
I do too, but
I'm tired already.
I hear ya. It's like, if this shit goes on another 20 years, I'm going to be pissed.
Damn.
Damn.
Nope. I want to, learn Jeet Kune Do and learn to play the violin, and then play the violin while performing Jeet Kune Do on top of Mount Everest, which I've also learned how to climb because I've spent 20 years learning how to do that as well.
And you have tiny robotic crabs in your brain.
Exactly. Yeah. There's so much stuff I need to do, and there's not enough time. So yeah,
okay.
Reverse
Well, instead of aging process, trying to figure out a way where you don't have to sleep.
So when it says reverse the aging process, is it just talking cosmetically? Or is it actually talking about, a rejuvenation of your body?
It's talking about diseases.
Yeah.
Because one of the things they mentioned was it seems to be anti-inflammatory, so they could be useful against a disease's inflammation, like skin redness or even inflammatory bowel disease. So it's more like...
Wouldn't it be horrible to
now.
to have them reverse it and then you get thrush like a baby does? You know?
Too far, guys. Too far.
We're too far back. Oops. We gave them jaundice.
Give me some of my oldness back.
Yeah, it says that that the molecules extend the lifespan in mice and they're safe in people. So yeah, I think that it's...
So I think it's looking more at preventing diseases of aging, things like Alzheimer's and stuff like that. If it could, make my joints feel better, I might consider.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Man.
Yep.
I could just see really bad things happening because, for example, world leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this won't if it ever was something that was available to the public, ever, it would be horribly expensive. It wouldn't be something that everybody could have, and we would see some dictatorships last
for hundreds
300 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Castro's already done that, but beyond him,
That's true. I hadn't thought of that. Mm-hmm. Ugh. That, yes.
I mean,
Because could you imagine, was it Kim Jong-il still... Because Kim Jong...
That dude just... Okay.
His son right now is apparently just a talking head.
Kim Jong-un just needs a Snickers, okay? He gets a little nuclear terroristy when he's hungry. But Kim Jong-il was full-on batshit crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, I've written 300 books, and also I discovered the sky. He's just making wild claims, and he had people write it out and publish it and say, you can see that it's true because it's in a book. He was just fucking nuts.
Yeah. So could you imagine 300 years of that?
Oh.
Yeah.
I just think of the show Futurama. I think this is the show they did it in, and once people reached a certain age, 195 and a half, they ship them to a different planet where it's just all fucking old people. It's just one big fucking nursing home.
Sounds like Logan's Run.
I think we'll get to that. Just send off the old people.
Just send all the old people away.
Yep.
We kind of do that with nursing homes now.
I know, that's so sad.
Yeah. So
They're not that bad.
You just get them a one-way ticket out of Florida. It's fine. There's room in the budget for that, apparently. All the money we saved not feeding the homeless.
Which is 10 cents a day or something?
Yeah,
Gosh.
True. So we can move on from there, and we are right now at about an hour and 2 minutes into our show. That conversation about rape really derailed us in terms of our timeline. So that being said, how do we want to proceed? I will leave it to you guys. Do you want to just give our top 5 right now, or in the show now, or push through with the take it away section and top 5?
I think we should just jump to the top 5 and get it done.
Yeah, top 5 good. My eyes are hurting.
All right. Well, then we can do the hypocritically acclaimed top 5, which I'll have to pull it up because I wasn't expecting that answer.
Top 5 cartoon divas this week.
Yes.
All right. Who wants number 5?
Daphne from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Always the damsel in distress. La la la.
You get the picture, duh.
Yeah.
Oh, look, my scarf matches the bloodstains at this abandoned carnival.
I planned it out well.
All right. Who's got 4?
I'll do number 4.
All right.
Miss Smurfette from the Smurfs.
Oh.
I think she's pretty iconic, being the only female in that entire universe. So it's, enough said.
I think I thought about it, and we kind of missed an opportunity with that really, really, what was his name? Vanity Smurf? Or whatever. He always wore a flower behind his ear, and he was always looking at himself in a mirror and stuff. He was a total Smurf diva. But I don't know. Smurfette's more iconic, I think.
I didn't know Smurfs, so I'll take number 3.
All right.
Sokka from Avatar: The Last Airbender. He was the only non-bender in the Team Avatar group, and thus he was a diva and hilarious.
All right.
So yeah.
Who wants number 2?
Angelica from the Rugrats. Yeah. Demanding, loud, in your face.
Yeah.
And
diva.
Cynthia, her co-diva.
Right.
All right.
That's what we're calling them, co-divas.
I totally wanted number 1, which is why I kept asking. Number 1, Betty Boop.
Yeah.
Enough said. That was her whole job. Was being a diva. That's all she did. She just diva'd it up all the time. To diva is a verb because of Betty Boop. It's also known as doing the boop.
Doing the boop. That sounds like a 1990s hip hop song.
Yeah, it does.
Doing the boop.
So that takes care of our show for this week. Man, we're gonna have to pick up that other conversation later.
Yeah, I'm down.
That seriously derailed us. So yeah, you guys can find us on Facebook and on Twitter at Facebook/The Hypocritics and on Twitter at HypocriticsPod. Also, go on to iTunes. This is a directive. You must do this. Go onto iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating, and we'll read that on the air. I checked last week. We hadn't had any new ones, so I'll have to check again real quick just to make sure. But yeah, we'll read your rating on there, and if you go on Stitcher, we'll also read your review from there as well. Also, drop us a line on our email, which is contact@thehypocritics.com or hypocriticspodcast@gmail.com.
Also, you can find us on Google Earth if you look really, really hard.
Yeah, and you might have to look through a window or two, but I mean, whatever.
Right, you know.
Or that see-through house with the glow-in-the-dark windows.
Or you could just get Japanese scientists on it and they'll make everything see-through and will be really easy to see.
Don't give anybody any ideas.
I don't like this living in the future idea.
I smell a new mandate from Fort Lauderdale city officials.
Oh, gosh.
We will find you if you're homeless.
Shit.
Yeah, indeed. And then go on to oddcast.com, ODDKAST. That is the newest podcast in our newly formed network of podcasts and other media as well. So check all that out. Also, check us out on YouTube. Go ahead and find our YouTube channel, The Hypocritics, and you'll be able to get all of our podcasts there as well. So on that note, Caleb?
Support your local homeless, hungry person.
Hey, there you go.
I like that.
I like that a lot.
I like that too. And we'll see you guys next time.
When I sleep tonight,